Hey, what is up, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls? Protocol Pegasus here, bringing it back to you guys in Remnant from the Ashes, and today we'll be going over my Soul of the Scavenger build. So without further ado, let's go ahead and jump right into it, shall we? Alright, getting into my character sheet here, I am using the submachine gun as my secondary based weapon. From there, I'm using the weapon mod known as Song of the Swords attached onto it. For my primary, I'm using the Chicago typewriter. Attached onto is the weapon mod known as Iron Sentinel. For my primary melee weapon, I am utilizing the Scrap Hammer. For the armor set, I am using the Scavenger set, 3-piece full set, which the perk Salvager is attached onto it. From there, I am using the amulet known as Gunslinger's Charm. Then I'm using for my first ring the Spirit Stone. Second ring is known as Soul Link. So with all that being said, let's just go ahead and jump right over into traits. Alright, jumping over here into traits, I'm going to go ahead and scroll down real quick so you can see the traits that are going to be the primary ones you should focus on for this particular build. One of those traits is going to be the Spirit trait, which increases mod power generation. Then from there you should be utilizing Evocation, which increases weapon mod damage. And then last but not least, one of the main ones to work into this build is going to be Treg, healing efficiency increased by 100%. With all that in mind, I highly recommend focusing on every trait within the course of the game to be able to tie into any build you happen to be doing, whether it's a melee based build, a range build, a summoner build, so on and so forth. From there, tying in every course of the trait within the course of the game to that said build just optimizes it better for overall damage output, survivability, and so on and so forth. And since there's no cap limit within the course of the game, I don't see a reason why you shouldn't. But enough about that. Let's go ahead and jump over into some gameplay. Real quick, guys, just wanted to let you know that 94% of you guys that do end up watching my content happen to enjoy it or subscribe, so just be sure to subscribe. It really helps me out, and if you don't like me, you can always unsubscribe later. Thanks, guys. So, we are on the City on Earth. We are running in Nightmare mode. Today I'm going to go over the pros and cons of particular builds, that way I can show you guys exactly what this build happens to offer. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get into it. So one of the particular pros of this build is that it does carry 2 summons. These summons are called the Iron Sentinels. Basically, you throw these down and they'll consistently do damage to any targets that happen to come close to you or any targets within the closest proximity to them. With that being said, they'll also have the ability to heal you off of the ring that we're utilizing called Soul Link. Basically, 5% of the damage they deal ends up returning to you as health, which is really, really nice. So it keeps not only your damage output up, and it also allows you to self-sustain, but it also makes you more aware of regards to enemies that are coming up on beside you, ready to flank you, or if there's just multiple adds on you, you'll continuously get healing, you'll continuously be pumping out damage, and from there you'll be able to clear out areas pretty effectively without really any form of issue. With that being said, another pro would happen to be is that you do have a damage dealing aura, which not only amplifies damage output of which you're dealing by 20%, but it also amplifies damage output of your party as well. So if you're playing this build in more of a group-based setting, you'll be able to amplify the damage output of your entire party by 20% for, I want to say, about 30 seconds with the right traits attached onto it. With all that in mind, it makes you a really nice adversary to be able to run and gun into a boss fight or even a localized area with a lot of enemies, and from there, as long as you're within the proximity of your teammates, you'll be amplifying their damage as well as your own and self-sustaining yourself accordingly with the Iron Sentinel turrets, which is really nice. From there, another particular pro with this build is that you do have a high rate of fire, making your single target damage output extremely efficient. It also has the ability to get increased reload speed too off of the necklace we're utilizing. So from there, not only is your rate of fire a lot higher, but your reload speed's going to be a lot higher too, just making it more situational for any given situation you happen to be thrown into. And at the end of the day, it just makes you a little bit more optimized for more of a run and gun type of playstyle, which is very nice. Some of the cons with this particular build is that you will be a little bit slower because it is a little bit heavier set. It's not going to be anything compared to like the Letos, but it won't be as fast as like the Cultist set, let's say. From there, so you just want to be a little bit mindful in that regard. Another core aspect with this build too is that because you are a little bit heavier, you want to heavily rely on your turrets to be able to self-sustain you, so you want to make sure those turrets are constantly up. And that is another particular con with this build. If you do throw the turrets in more of an advantageous location, you'll end up basically getting your turrets killed, or they won't be hitting anything and you won't actually maximize your damage output or your self-healing. So you want to keep that in mind when approaching a lot of enemies. Just make sure you're positioning your turrets accordingly, and don't be afraid to keep throwing them down continuously, so that way you're continuously doing damage and continuously have your self-healing up ASAP. But yeah, that's going to be pretty much it, guys. If you have any questions or concerns, just post them down below in the comment section. If you guys haven't already, feel free to subscribe. Definitely helps me out a lot. And if you aren't already, I hope you guys are having a fantastic day, and I hope to see you guys real soon. Later.